Hello, everyone. Stephanie Zima here, My Way of Life Coaching. And today I'm going to come to you with something that is near and dear to my heart, and many of you are not realizing the importance of, okay? How to look at your numbers without spiraling. Now, what I mean by numbers, I'm talking about, first of all, I'm talking to all the online entrepreneurs, the network marketers, the maybe realtors, maybe the insurance agents, maybe the people that are in affiliate marketing, the high ticket sales, even content creators, I would say, but not really like, I'm not talking about how to create content. I'm talking about building a business and selling an online product. Okay. That's what I'm all about. Building a business for those that have either real products to sell online and using social media as a platform, or those that have services, coaches, even, anyone that has services to sell online. It's all the same. It all needs to have sales foundations. And when we think sales, we have feelings, right? I mean, we're humans, right? We have feelings about stuff and we have thoughts. And, the tricky part is that we can look at business models and we can look at other people in that company. Let's say you are in a network marketing company, and in that company, you see your upline crushing it, you see your sideline crushing it, you can see everybody else crushing it. And then you look at yourself and you start realizing, I'm not making this money, I'm not doing this. And somehow that's when you start getting emotions. You are creating doubt. Your nervous system is starting to work on you. The nervous system is going to say, like, hey, wait a minute, something is wrong. I have to turn off my fan here. It's a little bit too much, and maybe it's too loud, I don't know. But your nervous system is going to respond to you and is going to say, hey, wait a minute, we need to stop this, we need to stop this business. But you don't need to stop this business, right? One of the reasons why I am coming on here and actually sharing so boldly, especially now in 2026, is because I've realized that money and having money actually creates solutions for you, solutions that set you free. Originally, for those that are new to me, originally the Walk It Free brand was put to life because I saw my mom struggle so hardly, right? She was diagnosed with cancer. Out of the sudden, it was ovarian cancer, stage 4, out of the blue, like nobody really knew. And it was really unfair. It was really unfair. There were so many things that she still wanted to do with her life and she couldn't. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, like, that's not going to be me. I am going to grab life by the horns. I want to travel. I want to make experiences. I want to go places, and we all know, though, that in order to do that, in order to live life and have all the experiences, what do we need? We need money. And then I started realizing that actually 80%, I mean, guys, 80% of Americans are $38,000 and more in consumer debt, okay? Credit card debt. That's insane. So what happens when you have so much pressure, so much financial pressure? You have no options. Now, the Walk It Free now has evolved from just becoming aware of who we are, what we want in our life, to actually, hey, we're going to need to make some money. And then I started realizing, like, you all are dealing with the same issues that I had dealt with when I first started my business. I had thoughts about it, thoughts about sales, and I thought to myself, like, how am I going to I'm not a manipulator. I'm somebody that serves. I'm somebody that helps. I'm somebody that wants to be inclusive. Like, how can I sell to other people? Because it felt yucky. It felt like I couldn't do it. And I started realizing that sales can be service depending on what you build and how you built it, and how you're building with yourself, with your body, with your nervous system. That is important, because if you are building something just copy paste from someone else, whether or not it's that somebody else is ChatGPT, or that somebody else is your upline or your friend or whatever you pick up on, if you are doing it that way, it doesn't feel authentic to you. And when it doesn't feel good to you, your nervous system will not let you do it, because your brain and your nervous system and you essentially are so smart. You know when something is wrong for you and you won't do it. And it's not that the business model is wrong, whatever online entrepreneurship you are in, it's that you are building it wrong. There are so many different ways on how to do it, and you got to learn how to find yours. So, in order to find yours, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. I've talked like 5 minutes of an intro. Oh my gosh, way too long, probably. Let me know if you're still here in the comments. Okay, so how to look at your numbers without spiraling. We're going to talk a little bit about why you might have an emotional attachment to the metrics. We're going to talk a little bit about detaching your identity from your performance. We're going to talk a little bit about your weekly review habits, and we're going to talk a little bit about your adjusting strategy calmly, right? So that you are not setting yourself off and going on this roller coaster that so many of us are on. And then we're going to talk a little bit about growth mindset versus shame mindset. Okay. All right. So stick with me, invite a friend, grab a cup of coffee. If you need to watch this on a replay, hit the save button so that you can watch this later, or hop on over to YouTube. You can see it over there also under the live section. There's a lot of content there, or even on my podcast, wherever you are listening right now. I hope this is it's helping you. Share it out. It would help me a lot, right? I am sharing with you a lot of stuff that I have learned, and I would love for you to go ahead and share me out with other people. Or if you don't want to share me, let me at least know if you've watched it, listened to it, and if it was helpful. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so here we go. So let's talk about the emotional attachment to metrics. First of all, what kind of metrics do we need to have? We need to know how many conversations we are starting per day. We need to know how many conversations. See, I've always kept track of how many messages I sent, but that really didn't help me a lot, because the messages I sent, I got a lot of ghosting in the beginning, right? And when I get ghosted, what happens for me is I would then feel rejected and abandoned somehow even. And it's subconscious in your brain, but that would happen for me. And when I feel abandoned, I just want to either blame and say, this is all not working and blah, 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 blah. Or I would want to procrastinate because it felt painful. So even if I was able to override my first initial fight response of blaming the system and blaming the internet and blaming the algorithm and blaming all the things and blaming even my children at some point for not giving me enough time, like, it really doesn't matter who you're blaming, but if you're blaming anything, that is a fight response for you from your nervous system, right? To this trigger of not having a response from your messages. And you got to be aware of that. That is the emotional buy-in, basically, what happens when you are being triggered. Okay. So when you have this, you figure out, if fight didn't work, then I went into procrastination. I logically could tell myself, like, no, rejection is fine. This is fine. These people haven't seen their messages. Maybe they didn't respond because it's not for them. Maybe, I could talk myself off that ledge, but it wouldn't help my nervous system. I would still end up procrastinating on it. And that means I would never even send the messages. So I stopped keeping track of how many messages I sent out. All I watched for was how many conversations did I actually have. And with those conversations, from how many of those conversations was I able to ask or introduce or invite or whatever it is for you, that is what I would keep track of. And then I would keep track of how many of those people would then say yes. And the reason why this is important is because you are going to be able to level up accordingly. That means if you need to make 5 sales and you know how many conversations you need to start, you are going to be able to do the math and figure it out. And you need to know how many you can then strategically plan for it, right? You can say, okay, by March, I need to have so and so many people. And then you could already, if you are in your habit control, if your habits are in control, you would be able to then say, okay, I need to make my last quarter of the year before uh, in a certain way so that I then would have the result and the outcome. It's like the harvest situation. So if you plant the seeds, okay, on the field or in your garden, if you plant the seeds, not all seeds will take, right? They won't. Some will be eaten by the birds, some will be swooped away by the wind. There will be different ways. Some of them, they will be weeds, and some of them will be the flowers. If you know you need to have an X amount of flowers on there, you got to make sure you do the work first to kind of see how many flowers you have. And if you start recognizing, oh, wait a minute, these flowers are not enough, I need to seed more. Okay, that is what happens when you are aware. If you are aware, don't mind my dogs. Hang on 1 second. Come here. Come here. Oh, it's summer. Everybody is out. Oh, it's not summer, but it's good weather. Everybody is outside. Don't worry about it. Okay, so this is the thing. You have to have metrics in order to know what your outcome is going to be. Okay, and if you don't do that, it's because you are emotionally attached to the outcome. So you are attached to the rejection. You're attached to what it's going to make you feel like when somebody is not what you're going to be attached to, that you can't start as many conversation. See, and if you do not address this, you will stop. You will not do the work. And that is what happens to so many people. Okay. You have to learn how to detach your identity from that performance. Okay. That is where it's at. When I first started, I was just like seeing the results as a reflection of my abilities. I would see the results as a reflection of who I am. And that was wrong. Okay. That was wrong. That was something that many of you are having too. Like, let me know in the comments, please. Let me know what your feelings are about this as you are hearing me say this. But for me, it was so painful that I always stopped myself, but it wasn't me. So I had to learn how to detach my identity. I had to remember that, hey, wait a minute, I'm a salesperson and I'm just doing a sales job, and that has something else that is different than I am Stephanie, that is not good enough to sell anybody. You know, if you are a hamburger flipper at McDonald's, for example, and a burger flips off the grill and lands on the floor, and you're going to throw it in the garbage, you're not going to even lose a second about it, right? It's because you are not identifying as it's my life that's just flipped on the floor. However, when you're building an online business with all this hype that has been around the industry of like, yes, and we are this and we are that, and we're earning the trip and we're doing all the things, it's very, very easy to be swooped in with this identity of this is me, I'm this, yada, yada, yada. And it's not. You are doing a job. Okay. And because especially network marketing, we have been told all the time that we are not salespeople, we are just sharing because we naturally do that. What it does, it implies that it's you who's naturally gifted to do the things, which is absolutely BS, because that is what's triggering your nervous system to shut you down. You've got to embrace the fact that if you are building a business, you are a salesperson, okay? That is your identity, your job. That is what it is. It has nothing to do with you as a person. You're probably a super amazing person, okay? When you learn how to detach your identity from I am this sharing kind of person that gives everything away for free to I am a salesperson, I have an amazing offer. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, awesome. Okay. If it's for you, fantastic. I can help you find something. If it's not, fantastic. Have a good day. If you cannot detach yourself from that your nervous system will shut you down every single time. Okay. Now, moving into the weekly review habit. When you learn how to do that, what's going to happen is you're going to look at your business as this is my job. And that means every week you have to review how many conversations did I start this week? How many of those did I ask, invite, about my property? I mean, my product, right? How many of those? See, when you do that, you can then see, oh, why didn't I do that? What else am I attached to? What else mindset issue do I might have? Where is my fear? What is going on? See, once you are able to learn these things, this is where you are able to pinpoint and fix and tweak, your responses and your activity. Now, when you review this weekly, you can also start predicting. Okay, so you can say, wait a minute, my let's go back to this flower garden. I'm looking at this flower garden, thinking, okay, if I make 100 seeds, maybe 50 of those will be weeds, maybe 50 of those will be flowers, but only 10 of those will be the tulips that I want. Okay, and the tulips I need for the bouquet that I want to do, I need 30 tulips. So if that's the case, you can then predict just how many seeds you need to do. It's kind of like math. It's kind of like math, like those dreaded, those dreaded text word problems that the kids do from third grade on, I believe, third grade to God knows how long. It's kind of like that, but that is basically what it is. So you can reverse engineer what needs to happen. Okay, then adjusting the strategy calmly. So first of all, we hear this. I just heard from Leila Homozy, for example, 100 leads daily for 100 days. And I thought to myself, wow, 100 a day is way too much. And it immediately freaked me out because I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, how can I do 100? I need to find 100 every single day and I need to keep this up. And it felt so, I mean, my entire body was immediately pushing back, thinking to myself, this was awful. However, when you break it down to what works for you, you could do morning, afternoon, lunch. I mean, morning, lunch, afternoon, dinner, 25, 25, 25, 25, right? Now you have 100. If you sit down with a cup of coffee and think you're making 25 cold messages, if you are strategic, organized, you could possibly do that. And then you can have 100 a day if you are already this person. But if you are not this person yet, you have some work to do, okay? And maybe you don't need to do 100 just yet. Maybe you need to embrace your journey and say, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I'm going to start with 5. Maybe I'm going to start with 3. Maybe I'm going to start with 1. Just don't do 0. You have to do something every single day, that is going to move the needle forward. And that is where a lot of people are going wrong. You think that you are doing work, but you're not, because you're not having these conversations. You are not converting conversations into asks. And when you're not asking, you can't close. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Okay, so you have to make sure you adjust your strategy calmly, what works for you, and then go from this week to next week to the week after to the week after to this month to next month to the third month, yada, yada, yada. That's why my mentorship is a subscription, because it takes time. It takes time to build and work and go over these different things in your brain, in different thoughts that are popping up. It takes time to organize your workspace. It takes time to organize your home. It takes time to get your family on board. It takes time to move these things around. And, they don't say 21 days to build a habit. And actually, I doubt that you can actually build a habit in 21 days. I think it takes longer. If you have not done something consistently, I think consistently to do something takes way longer than 21 days, especially when your nervous system shuts you down all the time because you haven't figured out the root cause of that issue. Okay. So that is where it is. Adjusting your strategy calmly. You need to keep watching, observing, and then finding your specific rhythm, your DMO, your daily mode of operation that works with your flow, with your schedule, with your job, with your products, with the things that you need to have, not just what everybody else has. And that's really, really important, more important than many of you are recognizing. Now, growth mindset versus shame mindset. What happens when you don't win the cruise? What happens when you don't sign up and close these people that you were thinking of? What happens when you didn't hit your 3 a month as a goal? What happens when you don't get your goals? A lot of us come up with shame. A lot of us come up with, I'm just not good enough. And it's so painful because the subconscious, see, I wasn't meant to do this. See, now I leaned myself out the window and I've done all these things and everybody's going to laugh at me. You know, all of these yucky emotions that are coming up, this is shame. And what you need to learn is that when you start running, for example, no one would ever expect you to run this marathon without training, right? But somehow when you start a new job, that, and again, it comes back to your identity, the fact that we casually share these opportunities instead of looking at it as a job. We just casually recommend products to other people instead of realizing that, wait a minute, it is actually a job if we want to make money on that. If we just want to have a referral bonus here and there, okay, then that's an occasional thing and that's not becoming your identity. But if you're a business builder of some sort, you want your $300 to $500 to $1,000 a month or above and duplicate your teams, you must identify as this is your sales job, okay? And you also got to expect this learning curve. You cannot, and I cannot even tell you just how important this last piece is. I was a stay-at-home mom when I first started, and I tell you, my brain was not where it needed to be. I would have needed so much more guidance, especially in the very beginning. I ended up buying guidance from mentors because that was what because I saw the vision, I saw this was happening, and I needed someone to teach me. I needed someone to tell me what I needed to do because my brain was on keeping little children alive. And many of you are in that situation. My brain was like, how do I even survive on my 3 to 5 hours of sleep? How am I even surviving with who's making food for me over here? Okay. All of these things was like the big forefront predominant issues in my brain. My business was secondary. Okay, so my brain couldn't even comprehend what I needed to do. And but by the way, this is part of why I did the mentorship now for you guys, so that you can go faster, so that you don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on people, but you can still grow because someone tells you exactly what you need to do when. Okay, someone tells you how to build this business, someone trains you to do the job. Because back to this marathon, it's totally understandable that you wouldn't be running 26 miles without any kind of training or without kind of shoes. But then again, you are expecting yourself to be knowing this business, knowing the lead generation types, the attraction marketing, the action marketing, the content creation, the content pillars, what kind of brand, mission, vision, values, all these things. Like, you somehow, algorithms, social media platforms, omnipresence, I mean, you somehow expect yourself to know all these things. And this is where then your shame is coming in, and your shame again will deploy your nervous system, and your nervous system will shut you down just to keep you safe, and you will quit. That's what's usually happening. And this is why 80% of Americans that are starting this business are quitting it or feeling it's a scam. It's not a scam. Online businesses are the future. It's what people just don't realize is that it is a job that you have to learn. And instead of thinking about it as a shame mindset, you need to learn that it's a growth mindset. I'm here to learn. I am here to do something new. I am here to invest in myself, and learning this job. That's it. So in case you're wondering, I haven't talked about this, I think, on here, but the mentorship, the freedom mentorship that I've been referring to is literally, it's only $100 a month. And I made it specifically affordable because I want to give you an opportunity to get the training that transforms basically your entire life. It's not just a business. It's not just you learning about the business and how to sell things online. You will learn about your nervous system. You will learn about you. You will learn about your authenticity. You will learn about how your environment affects you. And that, by the way, and that in itself is mind-blowing. That in itself is so rewarding because it helped me get a better relationship with myself. It helped me get a better relationship with my kids. It really just transformed my home because I was much more, I'm much more organized now, right? I have things where they need to be because all that mattered to my nervous system. Okay, all that mattered to me being able to create the type of content that I wanted to do, have the mindset that I wanted to do, get the sleep that I wanted to do. And while I'm still a little bit in progress with my health, obviously, I am still not physically where I want to be at. That is something I'm working on slowly. It's just going to take some time. You can't work on everything at the same time, but it's okay because I am paying attention to it. And that's what I want for you too. So in this mentorship, you learn that portion in the healing section. Then you learn how to connect with your mission, create an offer, know what to post about, create something new. You're an entrepreneur, right? An entrepreneur is someone that creates something new. And creating something new doesn't come just from, today I decided to be an entrepreneur. Creating something new comes from finding the road back to yourself, walking it free, walking your passion free, walking free what's inside of you, because that is what people want to see. And that is what's valuable. For the longest time, as a matter of fact, I was thinking what is going to be valuable? What kind of content am I supposed to create that is valuable? And it was, again, clashing with, am I valuable? How am I valuable? What is going on? Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And it's something that it was like a present that had to be unpacked slowly but surely. And again, this is why this is a mentorship subscription, because some people do it very fast. Some people do it not that fast. Some people need longer. Some people need it multiple times. Everyone is different, right? And that is why so many uplines or bosses or leaders are having problems, because they cannot necessarily adjust to the individuals that are coming in, and happens to be my specialty. I love to adjust to different people. I can completely, quickly, on a dime, figure things out for people. And my brain just loves all that diversity because that is what I'm used to. I grew up with foster kids. I had people changing all the time, different influences, and I've made my pain back then, because it was really hard, I made that actually into something that I am super great at now, that I can adjust to different kind of stimuli from different kind of people all the time. And it's so rewarding for me. It makes it's so much fun. It's so much fun for me to actually do that for you guys. So having that said, if you are interested to just reset your nervous system and get started, you don't have to buy the mentorship. You can just go ahead and click the link here somewhere. There is a reset guide, a nervous system reset, or just comment reset and I'll send it to you. That is a guide that will get you into my email list. And then on my email list, you are going to be able to get weekly content. You're going to get informed about new stuff, new videos, new things that are popping up, So if you are not ready to maybe subscribe just yet for the mentorship, or you're not really sure about me yet, or what I'm, hear all about, then you can just hop on in there, get that reset guide, start that for yourself, look at your nervous system and figure out if you need to heal, connect, and level up. Okay, I hope this was valuable. If so, let me know in the comments, please, and share this out with somebody or tag somebody in here that needs to see that. Walk it free, friends. See you then.